I remember when I first learned about planned obsolescence. This was probably 10 years ago, maybe a bit over that, but I was thinking to myself, no way this is real. No way that this is a real thing that companies do. When you're going so far to ask someone for their money, even if it's in exchange for a good or service that you provide, like, you should put your best foot forward, right? That's just a bad image if you don't do that. But here I am, 10 years later. If I heard myself 10 years ago say that, I would laugh in that guy's face. Because, like, planned obsolescence and just, like, cheap products, cheaply made products, products that are not made to last, like, that's just the norm now. I get excited when I find a modern, like, retail product or whatever that is built to last, and I can tell that, like, dude, this is a quality thing that I'm getting right now. I get excited because it's rare. And I mean, from a business standpoint, planned obsolescence or just like making things to eventually break, it makes sense because I mean, when your goal is infinite growth, you have to grow indefinitely. If someone buys a product from you and then that's it, they have that product, they're not going to buy more from you, and then your sales will stagnate. So again, from a purely business standpoint, planned obsolescence is kind of like a genius, very shady, but it's a genius move, kind of, right? Sell someone something expensive, and then it breaks after like a year or two, and then you roll out a new product, and then have them buy it again. I mean, my main example, right, is phones. I'm sure you guys were thinking it too, but dude, I've had my phone for maybe just under 2 years now. It's an iPhone. It's good. I choose iPhone because I am in that ecosystem and it does what I need it to do. I do like the Mac computers, but man, it's been 2 years and I'm already like feeling the battery just like going downhill. And it's like, really, dude, already? But I mean, when I think about it, every iPhone that I've had has had that. I know there are a lot worse about it previously, but it's like, come on, dude, 2 years? That's not even like a toddler in human years. And look, I don't think I'm treading new ground here. I say that on this channel quite a bit. I don't really cover stuff that is just crazy or insane. I feel like my topics are pretty understandable and coming from a reasonably level-headed place. So I don't think I'm surprising anyone by saying that planned obsolescence is a thing. But what I will say is like, well, what do I do about it? You know, if this is the thing, if products are gonna be made cheaply and poorly, like, what do I do instead? Because I can't just like keep buying stuff. I don't have money to keep buying stuff. Plus, not to mention like environmental factors, ethical factors, whatever. I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole, but the implied the implied stuff is pretty insane, I guess. Okay, look, what do? I buy old stuff, um, secondhand, right? I buy old stuff secondhand, and I use old stuff that I get secondhand. I'm not just out here hanging vinyls on a wall. I don't even have a vinyl player, but you know that's the metaphor I'll give. And I get like, you're decorating your room, but whatever. That's not this video. Right behind this camera, I have a collection of CDs, and I will listen to the CDs. I enjoy listening to the CDs. I enjoy opening up the thing, seeing the booklet inside, taking out the CD, putting in my CD player, which I got used. I think it's from the 2000s. I could be wrong, but it works perfectly fine. And sitting back on my couch and just listening to the music. Well, I mean, I'm listening through nice speakers. That's actually another good thing, right? These speakers are from the 70s. I got them as a gift. I did some repair to them, but they're from the 70s. That was, I mean, I don't have to say that's a long time ago. That was a long time ago. I mean, like, they're nice. They're vintage JBL 4311s, I think. And they sound incredible. They sound amazing. I mean, like, Frank Zappa would famously mix his music on these speakers. And again, like, minimal repair. They sound fantastic. How is it that, like, something that is over 50 years old, these speakers are gonna, like, sound so good after all this time? I feel like Bluetooth speakers, like, last maybe 7 years, 8 years tops. And, well, these are not Bluetooth. These are proper, like, wire speakers. But you can't tell me that JBL, when they made these, they didn't intend to make the best product they possibly could. I mean, even this camera, I've talked about it on this channel before. This camera that I'm filming on right now, my parents got it from somewhere in the 90s, uh, and I still use it. I record on these little digital tapes, and it just works, man. It works, and it looks good. It's a good vibe. I mean, it sounds good. I'm assuming that people are watching these videos because they look like good. But it's like the 90s were 30 years ago. Why is this camera still working? And I'm not complaining. I'm just like genuinely like, how does this technology exist and we're not like using it or like selling it today? I have this VCR player that we just kind of threw in the storage bin right after DVDs became a thing when I was a child. I think VCRs, VHS tapes, that was a thing for like maybe like 2 years, and then DVDs became the thing of my youth. So we just kind of threw that VCR in the storage. It like we messed around with it. We put like quarters in it as kids, and like the little slot that opens for the tapes. We did not take care of it. It was just kind of sitting. And recently, just a couple months ago, I took all the quarters out, but I tested it to plug it in, and it turned on. I put in the tape. It read the tape just fine. And it's like, how does something that we neglected for that long of period of time, how does it still turn on when I plug it in? How does it still read the tapes and do the thing when I plug it in? I don't think, I know they don't make stuff like they used to. But obviously there are limitations to like buying secondhand, buying used stuff, right? I'm kind of like romanticizing the idea that old stuff lasts, but a lot of times, things happen. Weather damages, people don't store things correctly, and sometimes I'm talking mostly about tech, but a lot of these things, they just break down over time. I want to get an analog like film camera to shoot film on. I think that'd be a fun hobby for me, but my only real option to getting like a good, decent working camera is to buy a used one from like the early 90s or something. But even then, I have to be pretty careful about like, okay, is this actually working? Does it say on eBay like it's fully tested and in working condition? Is it broken? Is it just for parts? Right, so I mean, like, I can't just be like old stuff is better all the time. You kind of have to still find it. But if it works, it's gonna keep on working. But what do I do if I need like something newer? What if I like just a more contemporary thing of technology? Or not even technology, just a thing. Right? What do? I am willing to spend more money on stuff given that I know that this thing will last me. Actually, you guys should see this. Hold on. I got a new bass, and this is like the one new instrument that I've ever bought. Most of my other instruments are used, and I mean that's a good thing. But like this was new, and this was not a cheap instrument. It's not the most expensive thing in the world, but like this is a good bass, and I have no problem believing that this will last me for the rest of life. And I mean, I don't know. That's just a good deal, right? Pay once. I have a bass for my whole life. I don't think people understand that. Your whole life. That's short, but it's a long time. I mean, it's your whole life. I was talking about these speakers, and right now I'm just running them through an old home theater receiver, and it's fine. But I mean, I don't know. It's not the best. It's fine. It does the job. But I recently got an amplifier, like a proper integrated speaker amplifier. And no, it was not cheap. It wasn't the most expensive things in the world. I know that those speaker amps can get crazy expensive, but it was a good like $500 I put into this amp. But now I have an amp. Now I have an amp that will last me at least, I don't know, 15 years. I'd be surprised if it doesn't last me another 15 years. I feel like I'm just talking about me this whole time, and it's my channel, so whatever. But I think it's pretty common knowledge that things are just expensive now. Things are too expensive, and I'm in a pretty good spot financially where I'm not worrying about essential basic human needs. It's messed up that people have to worry about that, but I'm not one of those people, and I'm very grateful for it. But that doesn't mean like I have money to spend necessarily. So if I'm gonna get something, I'd rather save up and get something nice that'll last me a long time than get something cheap that will eventually break on me within 5 years. That's like, again, that's not even like, that is a toddler. That is like a small child in human years. Something crazy I've realized about being an adult, and I mean, sure, like I'm a young adult, but whatever. Something I've realized is that if you have an expensive thing that breaks down, like say a car or something, I don't know. You have a car that breaks down, you got to spend all this money to get a new car, and at the end of the day, you still just have a car. I mean, you might have like a new model car or whatever, but like at the end of the day, it's the same function that you are purchasing the car for. You still have a car. It's just still a car. So right, I'd rather buy a slightly more expensive car than a cheaper one, given the fact that it will last much longer. Because again, it's like, why would I not do that? It might be more expensive now, but I mean, cars are expensive, so it's like that difference in price. If you know where I'm going here, that difference in price is not worth a whole nother car. I don't know. And I want nice stuff if I can. I like to build sentimental value with my things because that just makes it more special. And then honestly, that's kind of the cure to consumerism. I feel if you build sentimental values with your things, you're like, I don't need a new this thing because I have mine and it's good. I don't need a new video camera because I have mine and it's mine. It's good. I feel like this video like needs to wrap up. That's the flow it's going in. But I should mention, I've been getting into like woodworking. I mean, I've always been into like DIY stuff, and I've done my fair share of woodworking in the past. But I guess I'm revisiting that hobby of mine. And part of what I realized is like, sure, okay, buying wood is expensive, putting it all together, cutting it, whatever, that takes time. But wood is strong. Like if you finish it, put a clear coat on it, whatever, it can last you forever. Right now I'm sorry, building speaker stands for these speakers I keep talking about. And I mean the design I have so far is like I can put these speakers on, it'd be fine, but it doesn't take much to reinforce that structure and have it like I can throw it at a wall and it's like, is the wall okay type of thing. So if you can afford it, if you have the space, or have the resources, build your own stuff because it's going to be cheaper and it's probably going to be better than anything mass produced. I should also mention, like, what I'm saying is from a fairly pretty privileged place, and I can recognize that. But I do also think that I am pretty conscious about where I spend my money. I'm not just like blowing money on Temu, getting like cheap stuff. I know that like some people do that, where they like, I need a hat for this party, so they get on Temu, and then they're like, okay, well, I tell them like, okay, if you're just getting this hat for this party, what are you gonna do with it afterwards? It's like, oh, I'll just throw it out. And their brains, it's like it's a $2 hat, but it's not just out of sight, out of mind. Like what happens to that hat after you throw it out? It's just the whole thing. So I'm not doing anything like that for like financial and environmental reasons. But like I said with that bass guitar, like I have a bass for life. If I take good care of it, and even if I use it like super heavily, like it's gonna last me for the rest of my life. I know that. I would be surprised if it just one day the neck snaps or whatever. Like my birthday gift this year was one of those Casio watches that like Eminem and like Barack Obama wore. They're famous for wearing this Casio watch because it's good, it's reliable, and I mean it seems to have lasted them a long time. And that's kind of the idea, going forward with the things that I get. So I encourage others to do the same if they can, because I, for one, am very sick of planned obsolescence. So with that, I'm out. Peace.